So what he's doing now, and you can see all the fish jumping, he's driving around with the motorboat to scare the fish. And the reason he's doing that is for them to empty their stomachs, so they're not full of excrement when they're caught.
这个做法已经快要吃喘了。
为什么要把它这样的方跟那个花一样？有什么好处啊？
刚好42斤啊
！42斤，我去帮一下。So we've already talked about the history of Anping Harbor, where our boat is parked now. But the history of Anping really started here. This is Fort Zeelandia, and almost 400 years ago, the Dutch came to this spot and built this fort. The Dutch came here because in the same year, in 1624, they were kicked out of Penghu Island, and they made an agreement with the Ming government to come to the island of Taiwan, and they sailed here and they built this fort. This fort, originally called Orange, was renamed as Fort Zeelandia and was built from 1624 until 1634, and you can see the remains of it here. There's not much left, but there are a few walls that go back to that original time. There's also a well over there that dates back to that time as well. The Dutch only maintained control of this area for about 38 years until they were kicked out. And after that, Zheng Zhengkong came from China, forced them out, and took over this fort as well. So what you have at this site is really 400 years of history of Taiwan constantly being changed, going from the Dutch to Zheng Zhengkong to the Qing dynasty, then eventually to the Japanese, and then to the Taiwanese people. It's really a long and interesting history. If you come to Anping, you have to come here to really understand the origins of Taiwan, and that really started on this spot here. You really can't get a sense of what this fort looked like in the beginning, so I brought this book along. This drawing was done in 1635, just a year after the fort was done, and you can really see it is a huge structure with a square fort behind it and buildings in front. The Dutch really put a lot of effort into when they built it. One other thing I want to point out here is if you look at the construction material they used, it's actually very special. They used a combination for this mortar of water, sugar, glutinous rice, and ground up oyster shells. And that is the glue that has held these bricks together for over 400 years. That's amazing. This is the other historic site in Taiwan that the Dutch created. It's called Fort Provincia, and it was built in 1653 after an uprising. One thing you have to do when you come to Fort Provincia is go back in time, and you can do a little bit of that in this passage. This is the original door of Fort Provincia, and it was only discovered much later again in 1944 during an excavation. So they've kind of made it possible for you to walk in a little bit, but you can't go all the way. At least you get the feeling of how historic this place was. Come take a look. And that's all you get in almost 400 years of history. The road ends here. This is the original entrance to Fort Provincia, but at least if you stand here, you get a sense of what the Dutch built. There was a spiral staircase that went up here, and you can see some of the original arches in the architecture. It's an amazing place to be and well worth your time if you come to Tainan. We've come to Anping to understand some of Taiwan's rich history. And the history can be found not only in the buildings, but also in the food. One of those examples is Milkfish. milkfish has been cultivated in Tainan for almost 300 years. One version of that is that the Dutch started doing this when they arrived in Amping in the mid-1600s. Another version is that the local tribe, the Surya people, were raising milkfish as well. But in any case, milkfish has become a staple of the food here, and one of the best places to try that is here at Ahang's congee shop. This shop has been around for almost 100 years, and people line up every morning to get milkfish congee here. 张大王你好。
Welcome to here.
Thank you, thank you.
OK.
我想多一点了解虱目鱼的故事。
这个整套的这个，不管它的物料的配合，虱目鱼的养殖法，你要有耐心的跟我们配合。
我一定想学。
全部告诉你。
那太好了。
让你全部看出来，这样好不好 ？OK。
好。 So I promised to help you find out why the milkfish in this part of Tainan are so good. 张大哥，这个区为什么那么特别的？
你有没有看到那个是大海吗？
对呀。
这边是鱼纹吗？
对。
这边的鱼池的水就是从大海来的，它的咸度非常好，而且它的地质刚好适合养虱目鱼。所以说这个是我的秘密基地。 它是所有的虱目鱼养殖起来，它的味道风味最好的地方。我现在带你过去捞鱼的现场，那边有一个专门知识的小姐，叫怡清小姐，都是由她来告诉你。
好，
这个是怡清小姐。
怡清小姐你好。
你好，你好，
你好。幸会。
幸会。赶快已经要开始鱼要开始捞起来了。
好，那我们过去。
我们过去了。好 ，OK。
So what he's doing now, and you can see all the fish jumping, he's driving around with the motorboat to scare the fish. And the reason he's doing that is for them to empty their stomachs so they're not full of excrement when they're caught. So by scaring them, they actually go to the washroom and they're cleaner inside. That's what's happening right now. So I'm here with Xiaoqing. Her job is to go around to different properties and help the owners of these properties harvest the fish. She told me she's been doing this for 10 years, and today we're going to harvest the fish here, so I'm going to ask her a few questions. 海水跟淡水的比例是多少
？2.5度的咸水。
OK。
水质跟土质都非常重要。
你能不能介绍下一步我们怎么捞那些鱼，怎么做？
鱼惊吓之后，他们就会把这个排泄物给放出来，之后才可以开始 捞鱼，那现在他们开始要放网，前置作业。那
你这次会拿大概多少个鱼出来？
大概是2、3千斤，或是3、4千斤。
OK，
一次大概是这样子。对。
The fish are raised for about 6 months to 1 year, depending on the conditions. So usually they'll harvest once a year. So they're just doing a small sample right now to check if the fish have gotten rid of all the excrement inside. And they're going to test to see if the fish are ready to be harvested. 那你里面看是有没有东西？里面是不是？这个很干净的，这个已经 OK。So you can see these ones are already clean. There's no more poop coming out. So these have already been scared enough that they've gotten rid of out of the excrement, and I think we'll be ready to catch a bigger load the next time around. So I'm just going to explain what's happening now. They've just put out the net, and this is a bigger area that they did last time, and they're going to start pulling in the net, and we're going to see the fish being pulled in at that time. Each of these ponds is a different depth. This one is probably about 1.5 meters, so something like this in depth, but they go up to 2 meters deep. And you can also see the machines that are in the corner of each one. They're turning, they're aerating the ponds so the fish always have fresh oxygen in them. That's very important for the fish. So let's see as they start to pull this very heavy net in and see how many fish we catch this time. 我能不能帮忙啊？好。 So with each netful, they hope to catch 2,000 or 3,000 fish. Too many, and they won't be able to process them in time, and some will die in the net. They want them as fresh as possible. The other thing that is important here is there's a kind of a life cycle going in here. You have the milkfish at the top of the food chain. Next, you have the tilapia, which eat the excrement of the milkfish. And then thirdly, you have shrimp in here. The shrimp eat the excrement of the tilapia. And by that life cycle, you not only process all the waste, but you also have a very healthy ecosystem that is sustainable. And that's what's happening in here. So you can see how quickly this is going. The fish have been stunned with electricity. Now they're unloading them. These guys here are sorting them, and they can tell by just holding the fish in their hand how heavy it is. And they're sorting them into 5 different sizes that they can be sold at market. You can see there's a lot of expertise happening here, and you can see how quickly these guys work. They've been doing this for years, and it's exciting to watch. So Miss Gu is going to show us something very interesting here. Let's take a look. 顾小姐，这是什么东西啊？
现在它这个做法就是20年前的虱目鱼在卖的那个方式。
OK， 那为什么要把它这样的放跟那个花一样？有什么好处啊？
这样子代表这个鱼有新鲜。消费者在挑选鱼的时候，他会看这个肚子。哦， okay. 这样子起来，它的肚子就比较肥。
我相信不是很多人会这样做，对不对？
没有了，这个做法已经快要失传了。有很多年经验的老师傅才会这样子做。
老师傅，谢谢你给我们看这个。因为我真的觉得很快就没人会做啊。没有。那这个大概多重啊？买完40斤啊。So what you can see here is the old way that the fish used to be sorted and sold. He's making them into a flour, and by bending them, he shows how fresh they are, because once they're not fresh, you can't bend them like this. So you can see these fish are very fresh, and that's the way they were sold in the old days. Not many people can do this anymore, so what you're seeing here is very special.
我给他。
刚好42斤啊！42斤，我去帮一下。Wow, 44, unbelievable. He said this would be 42 kilos. It's 44 kilos. So you know this guy knows his fish just by holding him. 真的44，真的很厉害。你今天还要回到多久啊？
大概凌晨12点。
Oh my God, they're gonna be here till midnight, and then the fish goes to the market. And that's where we're gonna go, to the next stop, to see what happens at the market. That's our next stage. But the one thing I wanted to say before I go there is I'm so happy to see young people like Xiaoqing doing this kind of business. Xiaoqing, 可以问你几岁吗？
28。
28 years old and handling this business. Look at all these people that she's managing. And she goes from property to property, doing this every day, harvesting the fish and selling them on. Without young people in this business, we're all done. So I'm very, very happy to see young people like this. 小静，谢谢你，真的非常有意思，今天，谢谢。那我们下次见。
好，下次见。
Thank you。
太香了。